Hey, welcome to another Continuous Improvement for Life podcast. It's Rick Highland. I want to bring you today's podcast is talking about 6 hacks or tips for young leaders to build their influence in their organization. Last week, I did one on CEO excellence, and I'll do more on that. But I just have been reflecting on some key lessons and if you're a young leader, aspiring leader in a company, and you want to grow your influence, perhaps you want to gain more respect or more trust by your senior leaders, I got 6 hacks for you today. I'll just read them off each one, and then I'll give you some setup or description about each one of these, and perhaps a story that goes along to help you learn. One, these go on for one-on-ones and meetings. How to grow your influence, particularly if you're trying to get your leadership voice in on direction, and you've got very senior people in the meeting. Perhaps you're the youngest person in the meeting. Or these lessons, quite frankly, will apply to everybody. Listen. So the first one is called Ask, Listen, and Summarize. The second lesson is called Set Others Up to Win. The third hack is Yes and instead of No but. The fourth is a pre-facilitated agenda. Number 5, and I'll tell you where that works best. And why you would use that tip or hack. Number 5 is the idea of, and this is all very nuanced leadership, but the idea of how to be proactive in gaining respect instead of being turned off or put up a wall or saying that person doesn't respect me. Accept it as a challenge. What can I do to gain that senior person's respect? And I'll share a story to do with that. And then the 6th one is frame the positive, the 2-to-1 rule. So here we go. Number 1. Listen, summarize, or ask, listen, and summarize. I once worked with a leader, Roger, that was super at this and still my role model to this day that I try to emulate. And think about this as a young leader or any type of leader in any org in a meeting. Perhaps you're having a hard time getting your voice in, or you're getting your voice in, but it's not being respected or trusted yet because of your youth or inexperience. So ask, listen, and summarize. So one of the best ways to get a meeting going the direction you want is to ask smart questions, whether it be at the beginning, if you're in charge of the meeting, obviously, or even if you're not, to ask the right framing question to get to the right real. Perhaps you're a young, smart leader that's frustrated that the meetings aren't productive enough. Ask, listen, and summarize. Get your question in on how to get the meeting going the right direction. Smart questions. You don't always have to show your intelligence by speaking a lot. It can be just framing the right question. Yes, we talked about that yesterday. What would be the best thing for us to discuss today to move forward the downtime or the problem we're having with this product? And then you listen carefully. You make sure everybody's heard. You can even say, hey, Jenna, we haven't heard your opinion yet. What do you think? Or if you've got some young leaders or technicians in the group, draw them out, ask their opinion. That will show you're not a know-it-all, but a learn-it-all. You're curious, which is also an attribute that we talk about a lot for leadership in general, whether you're senior or junior. And then where it really comes together, and Roger used to do this very well, and I try to replicate it, but not to this level of clarity that he can do, is then after you've listened carefully, even if you haven't asked the question, often meetings go all over the place, even if you're not in charge of it or if you are in charge of it. Summarize what you heard and then give acknowledgement. If you heard it from Jenna, or if you heard it from Frank, or if you heard it, like Frank said, point number 1, it sounds like the 3 deliverables or 3 actions that we should take listening to the group today. Like Jenna said, we should do this. Like Frank said, and perhaps we should meet next. Even if you're the senior person in the room, this is very facilitative, non-power hungry, non-control hungry leadership. Ask good questions. And even if you don't do all 3 things in a meeting, even if you can get 1 in, you're growing your leadership and influence. But if you're in control of the meeting, ask the right questions, smart, open-ended questions, not leading questions that you're only looking for one answer. That is a really bad way to lead. That is a do not do. Ask a really smart, open-ended question to get the group focused on brainstorm or solutions or ideas. even if you can introduce some data with your question, that's another way to do it, obviously. So, listen carefully, make sure people are heard, and then summarize the direction. If you're in charge of the meeting, obviously that's a great way to close the meeting. But if you're not, it's what I'm hearing. Is this what I'm thinking? There's 3 solutions out of our discussion today. What do you guys think? Boom, boom, boom. Boy, that grows your trust in leadership in a non-controlling, use the appropriate tone. Don't show frustration that the meeting's going nowhere. Even if you can use one of the tools, but all 3, particularly if you're running the meeting as a junior person or any leader, ask, listen, and summarize. Good nugget, isn't it? First hack out of the box. Second hack, set up others to win. This would work here when you're struggling as let's say you're in a consultancy or a professional firm on setting others up to win so that your client will trust your junior person. Or even if you're a lead engineer and you're trying to set up your mechanics to win so that you don't have to problem solve all the time, or you don't have to be there all the time. Some people let their egos get in the way and they have to be the only person in the room problem solving. It feeds their ego. And there is a balance, isn't there? You have to actually set up others to win. I have to set up my vice presidents to win in the consulting firm so that that client will trust them. So I don't have to be there every day. Right? You see the value of that? Yes, you have to establish your voice, your leadership, your presence, but then you'll always be a single contributor. You'll never grow anything. You'll never grow your team. If you're an accountant and do you have to be in every meeting to problem solve because you're the very best? Or can your plant accountant be in that meeting? Because you've set them up. You've taught them the skills. You've built them up in front of the senior leader so that they don't ask for you every time. I know it's gratifying, but if you ever want to grow a team, particularly in a professional firm where the only way to really make money is to leverage your team, not just your expertise, unless you're going to charge yourself at $50,000 a day, then you don't have to leverage anybody. So if you want to leverage your team, set them up to win with compliments, what you say. Jackson and I were talking, and he came up with this really good idea that you're talking to the senior person. Senior person is going to gain some trust in Jackson, right? Set others up to win. If you're always using I language, people are going to be more dependent on you. If you're losing we language or even using your person's name at that plant or that you want to set up as the partner with this senior individuals always want the most experienced person in the room. That's just a given. But if you're going to grow your leadership and your business, you have to set them up to win. Was talking to April. She had a really good idea. You should follow up with her, or here it was, and she's going to follow up with you. Now you're leveraging your leadership and you're actually building their brand, and it actually helps you too. Then you don't have to be in every conversation. You're leveraging your leadership, and it's just a good practice. It builds great connections and relationships when you set others up to win. Hope that you can see the value of that as a young leader, either growing your business or setting up your other leaders so that you don't have to be in every conversation. It is ego toxating to feel like you're the most important ally, but you'll never grow your leadership or your team if you always have to be in every conversation. Third hack is yes and no but. A lot of people come in, perhaps they don't totally agree with the brainstorming or a person's idea so far, and they come in, no, but this is what we should do. It puts the other person on the back foot, particularly a senior person. A much better approach is to pick out the part. I like the way April said, or Jackson said, or Peter, I like the idea of, and have you thought of doing it this way? Yes, and. Yeah, that's a really good point. And have you thought about this? Oh, I like the way you said that. And have you thought about doing it this way? Instead of no, but. Even it's funny in conversations that are tense and a little bit power struggling, the person actually might be half agreeing or 3/4 agreeing, and they come out no, but. And it really puts people at well, actually, you're saying yes. You're vehemently disagreeing on this or agreeing to the same point. Yes, and do more yes, ands instead of no, buts. Do you see how that will build your leadership, your trust, your respect in the organization, your connection? Good stuff. Okay, number 4 is a pre-facilitated agenda. Say it's even your meeting, or it's not, you're in a problem solving, a breakdown of a unit, breakdown of performance, breakdown of something of some kind. And you could be in charge of the meeting, but it's not really clear. Usually maybe the senior person dominates. I would always, particularly even this real approach really works in a sales and marketing approach, particularly if I'm the more junior person. I'm not anymore, but I used to be. I would send out an agenda, the way I think the meeting should go, to try to steer the senior person in that direction. You're not always successful with that. Oftentimes that does work. I've had cases where that doesn't work, but that is one tool to make sure it's a productive meeting. Perhaps you're frustrated as a younger leader to the way the productivity of these meetings are going. You can suggest, and even in a one-on-one with the senior person, why don't we try this agenda? And by the way, Ty, don't you think this might be a great idea to attack this meeting? Say you've got a whole bunch of contractors or a whole bunch of people attending. You're frustrated. We're not getting to root cause. We're not using the time wisely. Go and orchestrate with your leader beforehand. Or if you're in charge, even go and orchestrate with the senior person. This is the way I'd like to take the meeting so that we could get to the most productive. Are you with me? It takes 2 minutes, boom, into the meeting, rather than just being frustrated, or maybe the senior person goes off on a tangent that you think is not getting to root cause. Great way to orchestrate in a sales meeting, in a problem-solving meeting. Great way to orchestrate it as a younger person. Okay, number 5, and I learned this from my son-in-law, Nick. He's amazing at looking at a breakdown or a disrespect. Say a senior leader is disrespecting you or not listening to your opinion, even if it's not a negative, just really not listening to your opinion. Instead of shutting them off mentally or building a wall with them, they don't respect me, I don't respect them, getting into that mental game, which is never productive, by the way. It really blocks your ability to make a real good connection with an individual when you shut them off in your mind. So instead of that, turning a disrespect or a potential slight or lack of trust in your opinion as a young person, look at it as a challenge. Nick does this. He did that with my daughter to get married. He does that with his 500 sales reps. He does that with his clients that he sells to. Instead of this isn't a no at night, but instead of a no or a disrespect, try to get inside, build a relationship, take it as a challenge instead of writing them off. Oh, that senior person doesn't respect me. That client doesn't respect me. Well, I'm not getting the respect from that person I would like. What can I do to be proactive above the line to build my influence with them rather than they don't respect me, I'm not going to respect them, I'm just going to forget about them mentally. You may not say that, but just that mental block and that attitude towards somebody, you will never grow that relationship. You will never get that respect you want. Oh, I'll wait till they respect me, till how smart I am. Nope. Wrong way to go about it. Be much more proactive. Like Nick, turn it into a challenge. Turn it into, I'll see if I can turn this relationship around. See if I can earn their respect rather than writing them off mentally. And then number 6 hack. Oh, I got a really good story that I learned from Keith many years ago on this one. The rule is called the focus on the positive. People are going to hear your feedback in any situation, even if you're the senior person. And we used to call this a sandwich. So what? The 2-to-1 rule. Let me give you the scenario. As a young consultant, very young, 20-something-year-old, I'd been on a project for 6 months, and Keith, my senior partner, took me up into Mackenzie, British Columbia, to go visit the largest mill in the sister plants that we wanted to market to. And I was 27, 28 years old, just freshly out of an MBA, and thought I knew a lot. And sorry, I got a message coming in. For those on video, sorry about that. Got into this conversation, and the plant manager looks to me, instead of looking to the senior person, my partner, quick pleasantries, and he looks to me and says, Rick, how's that going down at that sister plant? And I went into some, well, we're not doing this yet. We're not doing that yet. We're trying to do this. We're trying to do that. We got a long way to go, which was all true. What kind of message did that send to that senior leader at the sister plant? Oh my gosh, either Rick's negative or they're screwed up or we're not making progress. Anyhow, very negative vibe out of that whole situation. Keith pulled me around the corner right after that meeting and says, Rick, and I don't know if he exactly said it like this, but this is how I interpreted it and kept going, tried to keep going on this for 35 years. Rick, remember the 2-to-1 rule. Start out with one or two things that are going well, and then show your intellect, your smarts, because everything's not Pollyanna. People actually like the 2-to-1 rule. Here's two things that are going well. We started doing this and this well, and here's our big opportunity in the next step. Oh, people can hear that. Even if that's feedback to your direct report, even if that's feedback to your boss, they're going to hear that so much better than just jumping to the negative. Our minds always, we're problem solvers, and we always go to the gap. Why didn't you go to the gain first? Even if it's a 1-to-1. But think about the 2-to-1 rule. It builds rapport. It allows people to hear your feedback. It works much better in sales, but it just works better in interpersonal dynamics, particularly as a young person. If you come off negative to your senior leader, it's hard for them to hear that unless they're really abundant, really emotionally mature, and see the value for what you are. Try a 1-to-1 or a 2-to-1 rule. It works in behavioral sciences. It works in sales. It works in relationship building, and it allows people to hear your critique better. And don't just do the 2-to-0 unless the situation really calls for it and you think in your gut that's really all that they can hear right now. But I love the idea of a 2-to-1. Two things that are going well, even if it's not perfect yet, going well, we're making progress on. And one area that would be, they can really get impressed by both, can't they? That you can identify the positive and see the gain, and that you really make sharp assessments on the gap and the next steps. That really impresses people and builds confidence and trust. So there's 6 ideas, tips, hacks that you can do right away to change how you show up in one-on-ones, how you show up in meetings as any kind of leader. But today I'm specifically thinking about junior leaders, middle management, or aspiring leaders. 6 ways you can build your influence in meetings and one-on-ones. Try that out give me some feedback on podcast or video if any of these ideas land, or you've got additional ideas. That's great too. Anyhow, continuous improvement for life. Cheers.